Hello, everyone. Jocks and Jill, Season 2, Episode 2. That feels really good to say. And oh my gosh, Tessa, what a weekend it has been in our lives.
It's been a ton of fun. I mean, we've been waiting for a long time for that announcement to come out. We've been dying to get back on the air and do another episode. And safe to say, everyone's reactions were super sweet and kind, and we love it.
Yeah, our hearts are extremely warm and fuzzy from everyone being so nice to us on Tuesday. I think we both know we made the right call in what we wanted to do. There wasn't any hesitation about that, but there is always a little bit of anxiety that comes with everybody else finding out and wondering what kind of the world is going to say about what you're doing. And that's like so macro. It's like your corner of the internet is going to say about what you're doing. But the response has been really positive. So we're very excited, and we're excited that you're excited too.
Yeah. And also, like, everybody, you know, from friends, family, fans, listeners, viewers, whichever, the support that we felt was awesome. So thank you guys. We love you to bits, and we're going to be here for you all season long, and we're going to make it the best we possibly can.
Yes. Shout out to Haley Salvia and her piece in The Athletic.
Yes.
About us. She did a really good job of capturing kind of why we made the move from TSN to the PWHL and what we're going to be doing this upcoming season with the league. Haley's one of the best in women's hockey. My favorite memory with her was this year, Game 5.
Yeah.
Toronto, Minnesota.
Okay.
Pre-game media meals are often something like, I don't know, a piece of chicken. Like, it's standard stuff.
Yeah, dry meatloaf.
Yeah, standard stuff. Pre-game, Toronto, Minnesota at the Coca-Cola Coliseum, Game 5. Pre-game meal, ribs and scallop potatoes.
I could say I'm a big ribs person.
Oh, I'm a big ribs gal.
Like, I'm a rack and a half.
I'm not trying to eat ribs in a blazer, generally.
No, never. Were you wearing white, too? Did you pick white that day?
No, I think it was like a checkered gray. Like, it was okay.
Still dangerous.
I think I got it was a dark gray. There was rib sauce in my hair and on my blazer. When I did a Sports Center hit with you, dude, and I had ribs in my hair. So, yeah, it was a good night, and I was having a great time with Haley, and she did a really good job of that story. So thank you to her.
I feel like we just need to reenact that and just have both of you looking like the Joker from Batman. Rib sauce from mouth to ear, smiling, walking, saying hi to everybody in the media lounge.
Yeah.
Just from smashing ribs.
I love it.
Too good.
I love it. Another really exciting thing that happened on Tuesday, aside from our announcement, one of our favorite people, not in media, but in the world, got the opportunity to call her first NHL game on broadcast, because she's called an NHL game on the radio before. The first woman to ever call an NHL game on a TSN broadcast, Kenzie Lalonde. What a girl, what a voice. We love her so much. If you're a fan of the PWHL, you love her as well, because she is the voice of the PWHL and honestly the voice of women's hockey in my ears. So congratulations, Kenzie. It's so well deserved. She's so good.
And she crushed it. I mean, I was like, oh, I wonder if she's going to be nervous. I hope I sent her a little video with the kids and didn't hear back from her. I'm like, oh, she's dialed. Like, she's for sure tuned in, and listened to her call. And I was just like, I texted you at one point. I was like, I don't know what it is, but I'm like beaming with pride. Like, I'm getting emotional. I'm super excited and happy. I just want to give her a big hug. Like, I want to call her mid-game in a commercial, but like, don't be that mom, you know? But Kenzie, you crushed it. Julia and I, everyone here at Jocks and Jills, are super proud of you. Can't wait to watch your career and yourself flourish. I mean, I feel like, my gosh, no doubt, she's one heck of a talent, and she has earned and deserved that opportunity. And man, she took it by the horns and ran with it.
Yeah, it was really special to see. I remember the first game Kenzie called on TSN at that 2021 Worlds in Calgary, and she's come so far since then. She's worked for every single bit of it.
And she had it tough. I think her first game was Team Japan against, who was it? And she was like, you got to help me with these names. I'm like, oh, no way. You got to go talk to somebody.
Yeah, it was baptism by fire for sure. Yeah. She's cut her teeth, and she's earned every bit of this, and we're so excited for her. We can't wait to see her in the rink this year. So congrats, Kenzie. We got to be, well, Media Day wasn't in the rink, but right after our announcement on Tuesday, Tess, you and I got to roll right to Toronto Media Day yesterday. We got to do some great sit-downs. You're going to hear one at the end of this kind of segment, but it was nice to see everybody. Everybody seemed excited that we were there. Everybody especially seemed excited that Enzo was there. I brought my dog. My dog is also here right now. Yeah. You saw me give him a little bit of a dirty look when I could tell he was looking at me. If you're watching the video, he gave me a look like I could. Yeah, there he is. He knew we were talking about him.
This might be Enzo's last episode, guys. We'll see.
He might be fired.
Enzo, we love you. Oh, he winked at me.
Yeah.
We're pals.
He has.
That was the first time I met Enzo, for everyone that can believe that. Physically, I've met him over FaceTime plenty. loved the dog. We basically made out. Like, he was all over.
He's a kisser.
Yeah, it was like we were long lost friends, and we finally got to see each other again. Not the case with Emma Malte when she met Enzo. Emma was on our podcast last season and was very open and honest about the fact that she is not a dog person.
And I honestly, I have to say, and I'm a dog person. I've had dogs since I was a little kid. I find it refreshing to hear someone confident enough to say, listen, I'm not a huge dog person. It's kind of become, everybody has a dog now. Not everybody had a dog when I was growing up. So I appreciate Emma. I know lots of cat families that just have a cat or fish or something like that. So I respect Malte being confident enough to say, I'm a cat person.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
The video you posted was hilarious.
I cried laughing. If you guys haven't seen it on our Instagram, Emma was vlogging. So make sure you check out her Instagram as well. She was vlogging the media day. And Enzo was kind of running around off leash.
Well, yeah. Keep in mind, Enzo running around off leash isn't like a dog going crazy and anything intimidating.
Well, it depends who you are. It depends who you are.
I guess.
Because...
Yes, fair. And then she was like, Enzo, sit, sit. And then she just yelled at poor Enzo.
Sit. It was like, sit,
Legit.
sit.
Yeah. I was legit waiting for her hand to come in and just do the old tap of the head.
But I have to have Emma's back here because Enzo, I saw her comment online. She was like, he knows I don't like dogs. And she said it to me too. He barked at me and he was following me. And I was like, no, you gave him one pet and then he wanted another one.
Yeah.
He's like,
so she just doesn't know how to be around dogs.
He's like, she was like, he's chasing me.
He thinks you're playing because you're running away.
It was one of the best videos I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We were happy to see everyone yesterday, and we're excited for next week too. Mini camps kick off next week. We get to do a fast little day trip to Montreal to see all the teams out there. So in saying that, drop us a comment, tweet us at Jocks and Jills on YouTube, on Instagram, on X, wherever. Let us know who you want us to talk to next week at Montreal mini camps, because honestly, we don't have a plan yet.
Mini camp. We'll be at both.
Yeah. Let us know who you're looking to hear for those couple mini camps. It's going to be fun.
I know.
Lots of fun. So that's what we got up to this week. And with that, let's get to news around the PWHL, our headlines. Okay, Tessa. So you and I recorded our first episode on Monday. It went live on Tuesday, the same day as the Hockey Hall of Fame inductions. It was amazing. We said we were going to talk about it more than we did. I'm honestly glad that we get to talk about it now, that we got to hear all the speeches and kind of see Darwitz and Wendell go in together. It felt really fitting that way they went in together. I loved both of their speeches. I was happy we got to see them over the weekend at the Hall of Fame game too. What were your kind of takeaways from those two going into the Hall?
Yeah, Monday night watching them get inducted to the Hall of Fame was cool. Seeing them on Sunday at the Hall of Fame game was even better. I mean, I'd seen Darwitz around, obviously, with her involvement last season with the league, but I had not seen Chrissy Wendell since, I want to say, 2006-ish, 2007.
Really?
Yeah, like physically had not seen or heard from her. She's a very quiet, private person. She's got a great gig with the Pens right now. She's doing well, but yes, incredibly fitting that those two are inducted in the Hall together. I love it because they were the 1-2 punch. Well, I even say 1, 2, 3 because Kelly Stevens, who wasn't inducted or hasn't yet, their line was unbelievable. But Chrissy and Dar, they made the game unfair. You know, when like you're playing against your cousins or something in a game and like the two biggest and best go on the same team and you're this little pipsqueak squirt and you're like, well, that's not fair.
That's how you felt?
That's what it was every freaking time. And it was like, oh man, they're going on a power play. And as a rookie with the Canadian team, it's like, okay, please let it be their second power play because I'm out here to kill for the first minute.
Right.
Half. And you're looking and out comes Darwitz, out comes Wendell. And you're like, oh man, this is like not going to go well. And Darwitz in her office, they had this play as well, which was insane to me, where Darwitz would Wendell would fake a shot. And it would bounce behind the net and come out the other side. So then the goalie would slide across, but Darwitz would touch it back across the crease before the goalie could get there, and Wendell would pot it.
Oh my God.
It was insane.
You gotta send me a video of a goal like that.
I you know what? I bet you some Ohio State stuff, because if they pulled that on us, I want to say like at least once a game. And I would be like, everyone remember the play. It's the play. They're going to do the play. And it didn't matter. They just always did it. It was insane. They knew every bounce and every rink. Dar had a wicked shot, man. I remember in 2004 at the World, she actually scored. It would have tied the game. We didn't have review back then.
Okay.
So unfortunate for her and for the U.S. They had to wait one more year to win a world championship. But those two are just like hockey gold. Like they are so damn good. Do I feel bad that Chrissy never got her gold medal? Sure. But like,
She got a few goals to make up for it.
yeah, she was just too damn good, and they're both great people. And congratulations to both of them. It was really awesome seeing them go in, especially together. Very fitting. So, and you know, like Darwood said, they couldn't be any more different people.
Yeah.
You know, like Chrissy was way different than Dar, but man, were they like poetry on ice. It was the greatest thing, and a nightmare for anyone like myself who had to play against them a lot. So
Yeah.
at least I can say that, you know, every minus I have, they probably own about 3/4 of all my minuses.
That duo specifically?
Yeah, they were so sick.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. Awesome to see. It was an emotional night. It was a really good night.
Yeah.
Happy to see them go in. We didn't talk about expansion. We were talking so much about the expansion of the PWHL acquiring the Jocks and Jills podcast. We didn't talk at all about the potential of the PWHL going to other cities.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember, you know, thinking, oh, this is blowing up so good. They got to expand right away. Like, there's a lot of good players around. But then you're thinking, well, then how do you make sure the product stays great?
Yep.
And then, you know, I feel like the league was so successful after year one. And then you look down the pipeline of what's coming. You look at the number of players in the SDHL that could be available, players in U Sport. And you think to yourself, like,
Man, you even look at the fringe, we're going to go through all the unsigned players that are currently at camps.
seriously, goalies especially.
Oh my gosh.
One, maybe two teams, 100%. If the market's right, hit it. Absolutely. But yeah, it's exciting to think where it could possibly go. I mean, there are a ton of places, and obviously they did outreach games last season. Detroit was one of them that was really successful. That kind of rings nice, I guess. It is a hockey town.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh makes sense. I love Chicago. One, I just love Chicago as a city. Two, I love their in-arena experience at the Blackhawks game. I think it's like second to none. Quebec City is kind of cool to me just because I love the old Nordiques logo. Is it a little too close, you know, in terms of...
They've got the fandom there for sure.
I don't know. Out west, if you're thinking like what? Vancouver, Seattle, Calgary,
Winnipeg. I go Winnipeg first every time. The travel's not as bad.
So see, I thought about Central a little bit. And my mind immediately went to like a Saskatoon or a Regina because
I think you go Central before you go West, don't you?
it depends.
Yeah. On what?
If you have a team, let's say if you're going to expand by two teams and you got one in Seattle, you might as well have one and I'm thinking about towns that would continually show up for their teams.
Right.
And I find in Saskatchewan, they always do that for any type of sporting team or event that they have. They literally eat it up and they make it the best experience. Like, remember when World Juniors was there?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So awesome. It was
Even when the rivalry series went through there last year. Was that last year?
or the year before?
I don't know. One of the two. It was awesome either way.
Anyways, I like Saskatchewan. I dig.
You dig? Okay. I think all those cities are viable. I'm very interested to see where this ends up going. Yeah, because I just thought automatically it would be another Eastern time zone team, but it doesn't seem like that's the automatic thing.
I mean, it could be, but then when do you start divisions? You know, like if my thing is if you're going to go fully west, my thought at least, if you're going to go way out west to like a Vancouver or a Seattle or something like that, that's almost unfair for a team like that.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because then they're constantly traveling east all of the time.
That's true.
So there's got to be something in between, or at least close. So then you can kind of create divisions.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they thinking that way? No idea. Not a clue.
I tease this, but let's look at some camp rosters. Camp is well underway.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of see what we got cooking in each one of the 6 PWHL markets in terms of spots that are available, what teams need to get locked up before the puck drops on the PWHL season.
Some teams are more, I don't want to say more interesting, but I'm kind of like, what? Than others.
Yeah. Let's start in Montreal. 19 players under contract. Anything jump off the page to you kind of in Montreal?
But Bate isn't on their camp roster list. From my understanding, she's rehabbing an injury. Will she be back? I have no idea. I cannot confirm or deny. I couldn't get an answer out of everybody, so that'll be something to keep an eye on.
Okay.
If anybody remembers, if you read any article from last year surrounding Montreal, they need depth up front in terms of scoring.
Well, that was their whole thing kind of in the postseason. They really, how many minutes were their top players kind of playing? Laura Stacey, Pwhl, everybody up front and on the back end, not to mention Aaron Ambrose playing like 40 minutes that one night when it went deep into overtime.
Crazy.
Just weren't looking to their fourth line very much.
Yeah. I feel like, with Abby Boreen,
Yep.
they got her locked up. They've got Lena Lindblom. Jennifer Gardner definitely adds to that too. That kid's a workhorse. She'll do whatever you say, however you say it, and she'll do it to the best of her ability. And that's not me being
OH.
because she's a Buckeye, but seriously. But Abby Boreen's going to be huge for them. And so will Lena Lindblom. Look, they can't always rely on Pooh, Stacey, and Ambrose and all them to do everything like you said, or O'Neill. I think the back end is going to get contributions to the offense as well. You got Kayla Barnes back there now.
True.
When she's healthy.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about that?
And Laskova.
Okay. Have you heard anything about Barnes since she was traveling with the team still, which was good news after the robbery?
And when I had asked that, I asked, is it going to be season ending? And they're like, no, she should be okay to go sooner than later.
Oh, great.
So whether it's beginning this season or not sure. However, best case scenario.
Cool.
Thank goodness.
Who do you see her playing with?
Well, it depends how they want to build their back end. Because, if you think about it, I thought she was going to go to Boston to be paired with Keller. Boston ended up picking Bilka, which is fine. But then that really stacks your 1D pairing. So you could put her with Ambrose. Ambrose is fine with Keppel. They played just fine together last season here and there. So do you keep them separate and only put them together on a PP? Or do you keep them together and just have one bomb D pairing between the two of them?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. They both have that offensive upside if they could both lean into it as much if they are playing together.
And I mean, I would want both Ambrose and Barnes on my 1 PP, but you can't have that.
Some teams do. Some teams rock the couple D on their PP recently. There's just been so many awesome offensive defenders now.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I think Corey Chevery's got her work cut out for her. Dara Gregg, this kid's a beast. I feel like she's going to play physical. She can play physical. She likes it. She scores. She's gritty.
You want to know something? I actually just thought of this because we just shared our interview with Abby Murphy, and we asked her if Ridley Gregg had ever reached out. It makes sense that he wouldn't reach out to his sisters just entering the league. That's kind of betrayal. She's not even in the league yet.
She's not in the league yet. So
yeah,
they're
that's
playing
true.
in the NCAA same time. I don't know.
But you know what I mean?
This kid. I'm interested to see what she can do at camp. And thing is with all of these players that are coming up, drafted or not, it's a big step to play in this league now. A lot of the ladies that were there last year understand the grind, understand the physicality a little bit more. And I'm not saying that the NCAA or U Sport or SDHL isn't physical, but not like this.
No.
Every player I talked to at the end of the season was like, I am toast. I am done. I'm spent. I'm cooked. Stick a fork in me. I've never felt like that. And I was like, interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they train through the summer to come back and prepare for another physical year with more games. So for a player like, Dara Gregg, who does like to play physical and who is gritty, she's going to get worn down throughout the season. But still, there's still that step that needs to be made. Passes are a little crisper, a little quicker. So it's just a matter of, can she make that step? I hope she does, because I want to see her play.
Right. And then there's kind of you mentioned how competitive the goalie position is in the PWHL right now. There is not enough goalie spots for the amount of extremely talented goalies that there is. And Montreal has a pretty clear example of that.
I mean, Debian, there's a lot of teams that do. Debian is a lock. She's number one, obviously. Then you have Pwhl and Abstrider. I mean,
Pwhl was so good last year.
Great last year. Is Abstrider going to push her for the number 2 spot? Or is Abstrider, battling Boissonneau for that number 3 spot?
Yeah. I can't give you an answer on that. Like, I don't even have a prediction for how that.
Or is Zapstrad going to be like, well, if there's an expansion next year, I want to be a top end goalie. So if I'm not the number 2 here, I'm going to the SDHL to get games and get reps and stay at the top of my, stay at the top of my game.
Yeah.
So that when expansion does happen, welcome back, right?
Here's a number 1 spot for you.
1 or 2.
Yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see what she chooses there. Then
no Kessel at camp, no surprise there. That they're just going to hold her rights. And then, hey, Boston, if you ever want her, come get her. We'll trade her for something. But I think they're just going to keep holding on to her rights until they aren't their rights anymore.
I think everyone kind of put the pieces together when she got that promotion in Pittsburgh this summer. Yeah. I saw her. She rolls with Spezza and Dubas and at all the prospect events. It's pretty cool that they're...
The Fame event, too.
Oh, yeah. I saw her at Halinka in Edmonton. The 3 of them roll around like the Penguins crew together. Yeah. Cool. It's honestly a good trio. Like, I'd love to have a beer with that trio. Yeah. Spezza, Kessel, and Dubas.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Let's move to Boston next. 20 players under contract, 11 forwards, 72 goalies. Makes it pretty tough when there's only 3 spots kind of available when you are headed to camp.
Lana Markova could contribute to the lineup, but just a matter of, can she play at this level? There hasn't been much scouting going on in Russia. She's played in Russia her entire career. She got COVID during the 2022 Olympics.
Yeah.
It's not like you could even watch her play there. And they haven't been to the Women's Worlds due to the war in Ukraine. So there's not much that I know or have seen from this kid lately.
She was at the 2021 Worlds, right?
Yes, but that's...
Yeah, and I remember her from there. That's the last time I saw her.
Exactly.
So that's hard.
But yeah, so clearly they've got video or something enough on her to feel like, she was good enough to bring out. But if she does crack the lineup, pretty cool. She will be the first Russian to crack the lineup.
Yeah.
It's PWHL, excuse me. The Bilka signing, huge. I like Bilka a lot. And look, this isn't just because she transferred to Ohio State and helped us win that national championship last year. She played with Abby Murphy at the Worlds, and I feel like Murphy really rubbed off on her. Like, this kid had a little extra grit. Her stick was a little heavier. She was stirring the pot a little bit more. I don't know. I just feel like she's developed an edge, and I dig it. And what a draft pick. I mean, I like I said, I thought Boston was going to pick Barnes, but when they picked Bilka, I was just like, yo, great pickup. Because a team that didn't necessarily have the most, I think they were the least offensive produced team last season. They need someone like Bilka to help with that. Like Bilka and Rattray, or Bilka and one of her heroes, Hillary Knight,
right,
getting going, right? So I like this. Maloney is a big body, could be a great 4th liner. Really give the team some depth, as you know, in Boston. Courtney Kessel, the head coach, really likes to have 4 heavy lines that she can put out whenever she wants and however she wants. Maloney's heavy and tall. On the back end, Greco, Bard, and Pejova, they really bolster the D for them. Greco's a shutdown D. The other 2s are kind of have like offensive flares. Hopefully this helps produce more offense from the back end.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that, obviously. I think goalies, Julia, oh my gosh, they've got a problem. It's a good problem. They've got Klara Peslarova, who could give Emma Soderberg a run for her money.
It's possible.
So again, if you're one of those 2 players and you don't make, you're not the second Tendy, you going back to the SDHL?
If you want to stay sharp, it's probably what you do.
Yeah. What do? You have to. Either way, whoever has to be the 3rd string, I feel like they're going to be out the door. Out the door.
Okay, we'll move to Toronto now.
Yep.
Another team that has 20 players signed. And you really like one of their unsigned players.
Yeah.
She was kind of a standout for us. We had this pick'em going with all the other ladies on the broadcast, and we were at Women's Worlds last year. And this player, when she was playing, we would all always fight to pick her.
I think we all wanted her to do well, too. Laura Klug, I was like, when I saw her on their roster, their camp roster, I was like, my gosh, how did she not get drafted? But she's a great player. She's got amazing hands. She doesn't shy away from the corner. She's got a little chip on her shoulder. She's a bigger body. I feel like with Toronto, they could easily have her in their bottom 6, and she would contribute there, which would add depth to their scoring, which obviously
Yeah.
They need it. But I feel like she could also climb, the roster and become a top 6, depending on how her development goes, how hard she works at it, and, what her ceiling is. But I like her as a player. Scoring was addressed on Toronto. Obviously, Spooner won't be starting the season. She's not medically cleared. They pick up Daryl Watts. What a pickup.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Ottawa. They lost a really talented young player. But Toronto was just like, we need her. We need her more.
It's hard when it's your hometown. There's definitely sway when Troy Ryan's coaching that team too. And Daryl Watts has been pushing to make that national team for so long.
She wants to make it. Look at every season she has played hockey at a very high competitive level. She has been more than a point a game player. And except for 2 last season, and I forget, it might have been the season before in the PHF. But that being said, she is going to be on a mission, especially with Troy Ryan having his eye on her every day, to fine-tune her game, to really dial it in and to add offense like she knows she can, and we all know she can, to this Toronto team. So that was huge. Emma Woods, solid signing. I feel like Emma Woods hasn't even really hit her ceiling yet. I think Toronto's going to get a lot more out of her. She's big, she's strong, she's a good leader. Again, I don't think she's hit her ceiling, and she could add a ton of depth to this team. Reagan Kirk, go Bucks.
OH.
Look, here's my thing with Reagan Kirk that I dig the most. Not only the fact that, when the Robert Morris program folded, she chose to go to Ohio State, but Muzz, head coach, Nadine Muzzerall from Ohio State, did not make it easy on her at all. She didn't hand her the starting position by any means. She actually didn't see the net very much her first season there, and it kind of pulled her away from the national program because of it. And so she took the challenge on, and she ended up taking the net for Ohio State and won a national championship, which is so cool. So I see her actually at some point this season. Her and Kristen Campbell are pretty tight, but I see Reagan really pushing Campbell for the starting position this season.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting kind of jockeying positions to see.
Megan Carter out on the
that was sad news.
It's totally sad news. It's I really wanted to see this kid play. She came on the broadcast with myself and Becky Keller when we were covering the finals in Boston, and she was just so stoked. She's like, I don't even care where I go. I just want to go somewhere. And then when she got drafted to Toronto, I'm like, looked like you cared a little. I'm so happy to be playing at home.
Oh, must be so nice.
Yeah, from Milton, Ontario, right where I live. Way to go, Megan Carter. Look, as much as I'm excited to see her play, priority is her health, and I want to see her play healthy. So I hope she takes the time to get back, not rush things, and just put her best foot forward. Rylan McKinnon, good pickup with Carter out. She can help on the back end as well. Bernard's got good IQ. Knowles is returning, and Condis isn't. Neither of those are signed. So the 4 that I just mentioned, they're going to be fighting for 3 spots.
Yeah,
big time.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. A lot of good players kind of left right on the fringes of rosters, which is so hard.
And holy smokes! So I mean, expansion, it's not like I don't think it's going to deplete much, because there are a lot of great players and great names that are still ready to rock and roll and play some good hockey.
Exactly. Let's go to New York.
Yeah.
17 players under contract. Ooh, Sarah Fillier looked good in that Sirens jersey.
Those Sirens jerseys, I told you already. The whole kit, when you are head to toe dressed in hockey equipment, it looks solid. Oh, and by the way, Alexis from the Pwhl messaged me.
She messaged me too.
It's called Sunflower.
Sunflower, not tangerine.
It's not tangerine or orange or yellowy, which I think were the colors.
That's so fair.
Yeah,
it is sunflower. It's absolutely sunflower.
Yeah, now that you look at it, you're like.
And if you think of Jessie Eldridge, I don't know why that color just makes me think of her. She's just the human embodiment of it.
Of a sunflower?
Yeah.
Because she's so smiley.
Yeah.
Happy and
exactly.
Yeah, nice to see her ink a 1-year deal. Get that out of the way. They lost Fallman, they lost LaBelle, they lost Woods. So there's some spaces to be filled there. But the people that they do have and that are signed in Arard, Carpenter, Downey Landry, Eldridge, Fillier, Jaguar, Rock, Saunier, Toulis, Bourbonnais, Hobson, Nyland Person, Shelton, and Zandy Hart, and then all of their goalies, that's a solid core to me. And I feel like there's lots of spots available on this team compared to other teams.
Yeah.
Which will make for an interesting training camp, a highly competitive training camp, right? Which is good. Because
You need that.
want that from the get-go. New rink, new locker room, new identity, new coach. Like, this is going to be an interesting season for New York. What I love about the Nora Toulis signing, by the way, is the fact that, one, she's an amazing hockey talent, but two, this kid knows how to grind against the toughest teams. So she plays for Finland, obviously, on the international level, and she is out there against the biggest and the best on the Americans and the Canadians. And she knows how to play tough, hard hockey. She knows how to find way to score goals, and she knows how to win. She won the SDHL championship, I think, like 9 times.
Yeah.
Insane. So what an addition to New York. Excited what she's going to be able to do this season on a new look team, even though they're all new look because they all have it.
Literally have a new look.
Sunflower.
Okay, Minnesota, 16 players under contract, 9 forwards, 5D, 2 goalies. I don't know. Some people are mad at us for not talking about all the Minnesota offseason stuff because we had been away for a while.
Forever.
But it's a new season. They've got a new person in there, and they're looking to reset. They're also coming off a championship, which has been lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Guys, we're literally raising a banner there next week. Like,
Yeah.
Minnesota's fine. They're fine.
Yeah. Is it next week or the week after? Couple weeks.
Yeah.
They've added some good on-ice scouts in Danny Cameronese, who used to play on the national team, and Haley Skarupa. A million other jobs are added as well. People in different jobs, from strength and conditioning coach to team services. So they, like, head to toe, I feel like, did a complete revamp. No doubt this team's going to look to build depth with the 4 remaining spots that they have. They have a solid core, but I feel like with this team, depth is going to be key. I'd like to see what a healthy Sydney Broad can do this season. I felt like we didn't see much of her last season at all. She played like 7 games, I felt like, last season. On the back end, Sophie Jakes, Lee Steckline return. I love that duo.
Yep.
Lee Steckline, what a gem. Can we protect her at all costs?
Yes, and imagine being Sophie Jakes and getting to play with her and learn from her. It's just the best thing ever.
You got to get Lee on the pod.
You're right.
I feel like it's going to be impossible to find dirt on Lee. Everyone's just going to tell us that she's the nicest, most greatest human. She's the team mom.
Oh, great. What could we do with
One
that?
of the best players, so intelligent.
Mm.
That's the only whole interview. That is the interview with Lee Steckline.
Can't even make fun of her at all.
Some good stuff. Tossed Claire Thompson in there on the back end. So there's 3 solid D. The only thing with Claire that worries me, and I'm coming back to this league and how competitive and how hard these games are to play, I worry about her rest and the physicality. I know she played at the rivalry series,
And she looked good.
she did.
That's the only thing that makes me kind of shrug my shoulders at the Rust thing is I'm like, man, she was jumping off the page at the rivalry series. Her skating is always going to be like a stride above, if you will.
totally fine. That's a 3-game
You're right.
sample. She's got
Yeah.
a full season to endure,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. I feel like that's my only worry with her is like the length of the season, the physicality of it, because she hasn't continually been playing that type of competitive hockey last season.
Right.
Flaherty and Bookbinder as well on the back end. I mean, my goodness, their back end's looking all right. I will tell you that. Mae Batherson, Melissa Channel, and Charlotte Ackervik. They're going to be battling out for the final 2 spots.
Let's just see what happens there.
Assuming it's 2 back there, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. Minnesota, I feel like after rivalry series, watching what Grace was doing at the beginning,
Gas.
like, you know,
Still.
leaning on to get, you know, the party started.
Oh, and Heisey started first day of camp, eh?
Yeah. So nice to see that.
She did a great TikTok, I'm back
Yeah.
type of thing with her nice Frost jersey on. So that was great to see.
They need it. And then Kendall Coyne Schofield's going to be coming back with a vengeance, as always, as one does when you are Kendall Coyne Schofield. So, will Minnesota be as successful as this past season, winning another cup? I think when you have 2 goaltenders that are as good as they are, you always have a shot.
Yep.
And Minnesota's got that. So, but like we said, there are a ton of great goalies out there. There's not enough teams for them. So I feel like every team's back end is bolstered right now.
Yeah. Ottawa.
Wild.
Weird situation, kind of.
Fun players, son.
Yeah. 12 forwards, 60, 3 goalies, 2 spots open rather, and they've got unsigned draftees in addition to an unsigned just returning player from last year.
Yeah, camp invites and stuff. So strange. But I mean, I think this just tells me that, Ottawa didn't get, what they wanted out of their players. And so they're given another kick at the cat.
And not everyone they wanted back too, obviously.
Correct. And so they just said, we know what we want. We're going to sign for it and go from there. And it doesn't mean that these players still can't not make the team, because that's very much a possibility. Unsigned draftees, there's, Madeline Wethington and Stephanie Markowski, both defensemen. And then there's Manon McMahon as a forward, and she was captain in Duluth, and I feel like this kid can churn some pucks.
Can play.
So, look, nice to have great reserves. I mean, the rosters have to be set on November 27th. They need to have 23 players on it. So I feel like this training camp, while there aren't many spots open, I feel it going to be very highly competitive, no doubt, because these draftees don't just want to be drafted. They want to play.
Yeah. Sam Isbell, worth mentioning too. She kind of made herself, my buddy from home, shout out Sam, made herself valuable in kind of every situation she landed in last year, whether it was a reserve or she plays a little bit of D, a little bit of forward. So she makes herself useful.
A utility player.
And a gem from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Yeah. Like, what room doesn't need that?
Seriously.
Every room needs one. Every room needs an 807 number in the mix.
Do they?
Don't come for my 807 number. Honestly, one of the most overwhelming responses when we told everyone on Tuesday was me getting a lot of discourse about my bad stomach. Right. One. And then a lot of like, hey, did you change your number? Because I just tried to text you.
Yeah, and it's not you.
I should have told more people that I changed my number, but I just, I didn't, unfortunately.
That's all right.
I changed my number and went north, as one does. So that's kind of a look around the league as what's going on in training camp. We'll have more to talk about next week. And like we said, we're going to head to Montreal and Toronto for the mini camps last week. So we'll have a look at what's going on there. We were at Toronto Sceptres Media Day yesterday. We had a couple great chats. Blayre Turnbull was so great to talk to yesterday. And there's just something about her. You use the word maturity and confidence and how sure she is of herself that makes her, I don't know, when you talk to somebody that's so confident and sure of themselves and really confident in their path, it just creates such an interesting conversation. And that's exactly what we got from Blayre Turnbull.
Yeah.
So here she is, Blayre Turnbull at Toronto Sceptres camp yesterday. Okay, so here we are, Toronto Sceptres Media Day. It's November, just coming off Rivalry Series, and we are so lucky to sit down with one of the true gems of the women's game. We got Blayre Turnbull. How's it going, Blayre?
It's going well. Yeah, things have been busy, but super excited to be here and to get training camp underway.
Long couple days of travel, I imagine, come back from the West.
Yeah, early morning wake up, but it was fun. It's always fun to play with the national team and to get the rivalry series started. So, it was tough travel being all the way out west and then rolling right into training camp the next day, but it's been fun.
So Tessa and I are obsessed with the East Coast, and we also like to start at the beginning of everybody's hockey story. So will you take us back to the East Coast and your roots?
Yep, for sure.
Play hockey in Stellarton?
Yep. I grew up in the town of Stellarton, Nova Scotia, so there's only 4,000 people that live there. Pretty small compared to Toronto especially, but when I think back to why I got into hockey or how it started, it's because everybody in my family played. A lot of my older cousins played. All the kids in my neighborhoods played. My dad coached hockey and played growing up. So I think it was a no-brainer for me to get involved. And I remember when I first started, there's a huge pond at the bottom of my street. So in the winters, it would always freeze over, and that's where I learned how to skate. So I think I was 2 years old the first time we went down there, and that's when I guess I really fell in love with the game. And I think back to the early days, and I remember being half asleep and having my gear on at home and driving down to the rink in full gear and getting ready for those 7 a.m. games with the Timbits. My brother and I were always on the same team, so a lot of great memories from those days.
That's cool. Are you the only Olympian from Stellarton?
Nope. I thought I was until I went to the Olympics in 2018, and then I found out that someone else named Babe Mason, he went to the Olympics for boxing. So way back in the day. Yeah.
What a babe, that Babe Mason.
Babe and I don't know. There's some Mo. Ace Bailey is like a good hockey name that came up back in the day.
Ace Bailey's pretty good. But, you know, the East Coast is just, I've said it before on Jill Sonia's episode especially, it's just such a loving and embracing, like very community feel, like everyone's welcome kind of thing. And I felt like in talking with Jill Sonia's mother, she talked about you as if you were one of her own.
Yeah.
And I feel like now that I've spoken to her, she'll probably talk to someone else as if I was one of her own. So what is one of your first memories growing up playing hockey with or against Jill Sonia?
Yeah.
Meeting her family. She recently just lost her grandmother, who was a staple in her career and her life. So we just want to send our condolences to the Sonia family on that. But what are your first memories of her and her family?
Yeah, we go way back. We played against each other a little bit when we were really young, but then we started playing together. I think I was 10 and Jill was 11. So we started playing together on a spring team that was all girls, because before that we had only played boys hockey because that's all we had. So in the spring, we got to play on an all-girls team called the Raiders. So that was like the highlight of all of our years, was getting to play for the Raiders. So we always played teams in New Brunswick and PEI, and then we got to go to Quebec too. So that was the big trip. Everyone drove to Quebec to play in a big tournament out there, and I actually can remember one of those tournaments we played against Jamie Lee Rattray.
God.
And she was so good.
What?
It was, yeah. Back in the day, though, like we, in our little East Coast bubble, like we weren't exposed to many like super elite players.
Right.
So when we went there and we played against her, we were like, wow.
You guys didn't bus it? It was just like everyone for yourselves?
Yeah.
Wherever you can?
I don't think we took a bus. No, we weren't renting a bus. We were just paying for gas in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get to your college career, what's one thing about you that we will say, oh my gosh, that's really East Coast of you? One thing about your life or about you personally?
One thing about me personally that's really East Coast.
Does everybody out there wear house coats all the time?
Oh,
Just you?
I think the house coat thing is a bit of East Coast. Like when I picture a house coat, like I picture my grandmother in her house coat, my aunt Joni, who I stayed with in a few summers when I was training in Halifax, like constantly in her house coat. I think it might be a bit of an East Coast thing.
I think it might be just a small town thing. I'm picturing like my dad in his house coat and his rubber boots and his gun walking the dog. And I think it just might be a little bit of a town thing. But you made your way to Wisconsin. So how did you get that school? Like, I feel like that team and the players on it, such a legendary group of people.
Yeah.
But
so it's kind of funny how I decided to go to Wisconsin, because I went to Shattuck St. Mary's in grade 11 and 12. And when I got to Shattuck, I had my sights set on playing hockey at St. X. And if that, didn't work out, then I would also look into going to play at McGill. So when I was growing up in Nova Scotia, St. X hosted nationals a couple times. So we went down and watched, and I was like obsessed with the ex-women hockey team, and McGill was like dynamite back then too. So I was really keen on going to one of those schools. And then I didn't really know what the NCAA was, or that there was even a league down there with such elite talent. So when I went to Shattuck, I started getting emails here and there from different schools, but I was like sometimes I would just ignore the emails, because I was like, I'm not going anywhere other than St. X or McGill.
I want to get you to come to school for free and play for us. No, I'm good. I'm busy here.
Yeah, honestly. And then I know. And then I started answering and like trying to like talk to different schools and figure out, what they had to offer in terms of like their hockey team and their education and stuff like that. And then I went to U18 Nationals with Team Atlantic in BC. And that's kind of when things really started rolling in, and I started getting more and more information about NCAA and what that road could look like. So at that point, it was going into the summer of my grade 12 year. So I just finished grade 11, and I had kind of narrowed it down and decided that I probably wasn't going to St. FX or McGill at this point. It was looking more like I would go to Cornell, Wisconsin, or the University of New Hampshire, because it was really close to home. So
New Hampshire was close. I'm surprised I didn't take it. Is it because their rink was a weird shape?
Their rink was huge, I remember.
Yeah, it's like weird.
Huge. Yeah. And then I had a couple home visits from a few different coaches. And then it wasn't until the fall of grade 12 that I decided that I would go to Wisconsin. So it was kind of a bit late in the process compared to, I think, how early people choose now. But the deciding factor for me was a conversation that I had with my coach at Shattuck. And he kind of put me on the spot and said, do you want to go to a school where you're going to walk in there and be the number one player, and you're going to be on a team that probably has no chance to ever win a national championship? Or do you want to go to Wisconsin where you'll have players like Brianna Decker, Alex Rigsby, all those girls to look up to, Hillary Knight? And that made things really clear in my mind that it was a no-brainer for me to choose Wisconsin.
See, that's cool, because I had the same conversation with myself when I was deciding. Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Northeastern are actually my top three. And I thought to myself, do you want to go somewhere and win championships with great players, or do you want to go somewhere and try and make a team great? And I chose the opposite. So it's interesting that, that's appetizing to you, but what you saw, I feel like, wasn't the championships. You saw the experience and the knowledge, and the opportunity to train with the best every day.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. So sophomore year, 8 points season, followed by your
unreal year,
40. Like, did you all of a sudden just absorb everything that all the great ladies were doing? What was the difference there? What happened?
Yeah. The sophomore slump, I think it's called, is what happened. I didn't have a great year points wise. Our team wasn't good. I mean, we were good, but we weren't like a dynamite Wisconsin team that the program had been in the past. So we struggled quite a bit. I struggled quite a bit trying to find my game, and I think my expectations were super high after my first year to go into my second year and just, really soak up everything that I had learned. But it didn't work out like that for me. But I was able to turn it around in my junior year, and our team was in a good spot. We still had a lot of great players to work with and learn from, and I think we were able to turn things around that season.
Who were your lineys that season? Do you remember your junior year?
I think it was Brittany Ammerman and Carly Sylvester.
Okay, because I was like, for sure Ammerman was because she had a ton of points.
Yeah,
too.
She was great.
What do you remember about baby Nursey and
Oh God, those two.
Trio I think of when I think of Wisconsin, honestly. I think of you three.
Yeah, I don't think people who know us, who just meet us now, I don't think they understand that we go way back, way, way, way back. I remember Nursey showed up. She had little glasses on, just super cute, so not the Sarah Nurse that we know now. But
I love the glasses.
Yeah, I can remember both of them being. She played with glasses under her helmet. Yeah.
At Wisconsin?
I don't think she had them at Wisconsin. No, but she definitely did. I think in grade 12.
Were they the sport goggles, or were they legit just her?
I think they were glasses. But we'll have to confirm with her.
So cute.
Yeah. But Nursey came, and she was a really eager freshman, really dedicated to school. I think she really understood the importance of making sure that she was going to major in something that set her up for life after hockey. And hockey-wise, she came in with a ton of skill, and she was willing to put in the work in the gym to kind of gain some strength in areas that she needed to improve in. She was a really small freshman, so she put in the work. And same with Clarkie, she showed up to campus like a quite a young freshman, if that makes sense, but so willing to do whatever she needed to do to be the best teammate and best hockey player.
She had quit smoking by then.
She gave it up. Yeah. It's only occasional now.
For someone like myself, when I say that, I mean like I'm very much older than the both of you sitting here. Cassie Campbell was the be all and end all, right? Like she was like, between her and Cammie, those are your stars. Those are the ones that you get starstruck over. And then she got involved in the Canadian program. I feel like around your time, but still, she was still a pretty big name. I mean, she was on Hockey Night in Canada. She still held that superstardom, if you will. Was there ever a moment where you like ran into Cap, where you had like a starstruck moment, like in a Toys R Us or anything?
Yeah, like when I turned the other way and ran out of the store.
Yeah, I thought you. I was on.
Cassie doesn't know that story.
I know she doesn't.
Yeah,
this is great.
It was Haley Cudmore and I were at Toys R Us buying something, I think, for Megan Mickelson's son Calder for his birthday. And we saw Cassie from like down the aisle. And I was like, oh my God, Cassie Campbell's down there. We have to leave. So we hid. We hid.
We have to go.
We hid. It's so embarrassing.
It's hilarious that she remembers you guys following her around and you remember running.
Yeah, I know. And she probably saw us the whole time being like, what the hell are these two doing?
Your relationship is good now? Like,
oh, yeah.
That's so curious. But even with that, I mean, obviously you're not a shy individual, just knowing you, but likely when you're in an intimidating situation with some of that you're starstruck by, fine. So like your first time ever making the national team would have been what, a Four Nations?
Yeah. 10 years ago.
You speak or whisper to the most?
Clarkie. And the most, as in, like, that was it. She's the only person I spoke to, I think.
Did you get fined?
Maybe Aaron Ambrose. Yeah, we got fined.
For whispering?
Yeah, for, like, only talking to each other.
And the whispering was because you're just...
terrified. Okay, so we were terrified in general, and then we had flight trouble, so we got in a day later than everybody else. So it was one of those awkward moments where, like, everyone's there already, you know, like, they get to sort out the awkwardness of like day one of being together with a new team. And then Clarkie and I, two people who have never been on the team before. I had just gone to my first ever camp. So like I didn't know anybody. Right. And we showed up late and it was so uncomfortable.
Who was the most intimidating? Like who was the one that had you, whispering, I guess?
Lacasse, which is hilarious. So funny.
Yes.
I know. But I think I found her intimidating because, like, she was so not afraid to put you on the spot. So it was like, I need to, like, avoid her because I don't want to get put on the spot. But she's the best.
Right.
So you have a couple injuries in weird moments that do not involve in-game play. The most famous one we'll obviously talk about after the 2021 World Championship, but there's an underrated one as well.
Yeah.
That happened in a pregame spike ball competition. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Warming up for the gold medal game of Worlds in 2017. We were playing spike ball before the game, like we always do. And of course, Clarkie was my teammate. And we like took a break from the game to come up with this set play. So I was going to pass her the ball. She was going to lay it up for me, and then I was going to jump up and spike it as hard as I could onto the net. And we executed the play flawlessly, except when I followed through on my spike, I smoked my hand super hard off my shin and broke my finger. Yeah.
On your own body?
Yeah.
You broke your body on your body.
On my finger. Yeah, like
nails.
Come on.
Yeah. Just smacked it off my shin and broke it like 20 minutes before we were supposed to be on the ice for the game.
And that was what, your second Worlds that you were a part of?
Yeah. And it was like right before the centralization roster was going to get announced too.
So what'd you do? Just suck it up and play?
Yeah. Like I didn't suck it up, but I played. Well, yeah. I whispered to Clark, it's like, I think I broke my finger.
Another little whisper moment.
It all comes back to whispering with Clarkie. But yeah, like I was like, Clarkie, I think I broke my finger. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I can't move my finger. Look at it. And she was like, oh, shit. So then I like went into the med room and I showed Doc my finger. And she's like, yeah, like I think it's all right. And she's like, you can just play. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll play. But like, I couldn't lift the puck, which was fine because like at that point in my career, I was just like, I would get to the red line and like try to get rid of the puck. But yeah, like on ice warm up I was like, shit, I don't know how this is gonna go, but yeah.
And you had to take draws.
Yeah.
You're good at taking face-offs. So how the heck was that? Just torturous?
I honestly don't remember what it was like to take draws. All I remember was like I could not lift the puck. So yeah.
Let's talk about the well, do you want to jump to the next strange injury or should we go chronological?
Let's go to the next strange injury. We're on the topic because this was such a big world. Like I felt like this was COVID. This is 2021. You were supposed to be in Halifax the year before. You ended up in the bubble in Calgary. It felt like the whole world was watching. And then Pwhl gets the most electric goal ever. Nobody realizes that he scores except for her.
I blame her on my injury.
Is that who you bring it back to?
Yeah.
I blame something.
Yeah, someone needs to be blamed.
Just bring us the POV. You're in the dog pile. You just won the world championship and you feel your leg go.
Yeah. So what happened was Pwhl scored and then she, like the whistle didn't blow. So she came to the bench and I hopped on for her. So the puck is in our end. I think I get it from Anne Renee, our goalie. She gives me the puck. I pass it up to Renata and then all of a sudden the buzzer goes. So I'm at the blue line and I turn back and look at Anne and I was like, and Anne's like celebrating and I was like, did we just win?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, we just won. And so then Anne and I jumped in the air and I grabbed Anne like this and we landed on one of my legs. So me plus a goalie and all of her equipment landed on one of my legs.
So that was it. It was all.
That's when my leg broke. Okay. So as soon as we went down on my leg, it was like snap. And I was like, uh-oh. And then everyone else kind of joined us. And then like Mello came and like gave me a hug. And I was like, Mello, I think my leg is broken. You need to get me off the ice. And she's like, what? I was like, I think my leg's broken. Can you please take me to the bench? So then I'm like sitting on my ass on the ice and she grabs me by the shoulders and like drags me out. So people thought we were doing like a funny like celebration where I was like, kayaking or like canoeing on the ice. But we get to the bench and then I told our doc and our med staff that I did something to my ankle and I felt a snap. So then we went off and they looked at it. Then luckily there was an x-ray machine in the rink. So they were getting that all set up. They gave me some laughing gas and put me on the stretcher and sent me back out on the ice. And I did not want to go back on the ice at all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was like, don't put me. I was happy because of the laughing gas. I wasn't happy to be on the ice on a stretcher. Yeah. But
it's like you're not one that loves attention or anything. And like,
no.
What grabs more attention than someone being dragged out of a dog pile and scooted to the side by someone who then rejoined?
Yeah,
there.
I know. Just drops me off at the bench.
And then she carted back.
Yeah.
No, it made for great TV. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Made for great social content. We also appreciated that. But it must have been like, what were some of the things that the ladies said to you? And was there a point when you're like, I am in some serious pain. Please get me out of here?
It didn't hit me until after I got back down from the x-ray and I realized that my ankle was broken and that I was probably going to need to have surgery. And then that's when like the emotions came. Because initially it was like kind of funny in a way, like, oh my God, like seriously, I just hurt myself because we won. Like, and then I got back down and everyone was celebrating and I was like pale as a ghost, like so upset with the reality that we're now like, what were we, 5 months out from the Olympics?
Yeah, were your thoughts exactly that? Like,
yeah,
not going to be able to make good on 2018?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, we are so close to the Olympics, and you're telling me I'm getting surgery next week. And our doc was like, yes, like you're probably going to get surgery, but this is best case scenario for what could have happened. Like I had a clean break in my ankle. The only reason they wanted to do surgery was to guarantee, like if I got surgery and got a plate and screws in, they could guarantee that I would be ready in 6 weeks. Versus if I didn't, then it was a risk whether or not my bone would heal correctly. So it all worked out, but it was scary.
Where'd you go for your surgery?
In Calgary.
It was in Calgary.
Yeah.
Today? Wow. That's insane. Like my palms, like it brought me back.
I know mine are like clammy right now.
Yeah, and I was getting sweaty, like a little bit. I'm a little dewy talking about that injury because the fact that you heard it and just remembering it. And then I remember they replayed the celebration on our rollout, and I was like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see that anymore or again. But nice that you made it back to then compete in those Olympics. But I want to talk about, the silver in 2018. And we had talked to Jill Saunier about it, and there's a picture of you and her, heartbroken moment. But she talked about, how going back to Nova Scotia kind of changed her outlook on.
Yes.
2019 wasn't the Worlds that y'all wanted either. So those back-to-back, I guess we'll call them hiccups. Like you figure after 2018, the first team to lose gold since 98, right? That was a heavy burden to carry. You all did it so well, and you guys should still be proud of yourself and your performance. But you would expect an uptick going into the Worlds the next year. Unfortunately, the team got bronze that year. That was the year that Finland technically won. Finland did win that Worlds, everyone. It wasn't the United States, it was Finland. So what was it? Was everyone still so gutted and heartbroken and disarray from 2018 going into 2019? You guys still needed that final swift kick in the rear to right the ship?
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint what exactly was going on, but I think looking back now, and I think I can probably say this because I've won a few times now, but I think losing at the Olympics was a massive heartbreak. And then getting a bronze medal for Team Canada, it's just like, it's not even heartbreak at that point. It's just like, what the is going on at that point? You know what I mean? So I think it was super eye-opening in terms of we learned that something has to change.
Yeah. Well, what the was going on?
Yeah. We just weren't, in my opinion, we weren't super connected as a team. And there were a lot of changes happening. It was still in the time where you never were able to feel super secure.
Right.
So
everyone was on edge.
Yeah. Everyone's on edge. You're playing a little bit scared. You're a little bit hesitant. You're not super confident in any play that you make. And obviously that's a problem that a lot of individuals have. And it's something where you have to work on that as an individual. But if the environment that you're in isn't necessarily one that allows you to make mistakes and then recover from them, it's really challenging.
And everyone always says, hockey is a game of mistakes. And the point of having teammates and other players out there with you is that so you can make a mistake and another play can develop.
Yeah.
Right. It's all about acting and reacting. I never like the focus on mistakes things. So,
yeah.
And I understand you're gripping your stick so tight because you don't want to be the one making that mistake. And then you end up thinking and you're not playing.
Yeah.
So thinking the game sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see that you guys came out of that, though. Do you remember the moment when that shift finally happened?
Yeah, I think with the CWHL folding right around that time, it gave us a lot more time to work on things and to focus on the national team and what had to change and what had to happen. So I think everybody, not that people weren't dedicated to it before, but I think people maybe had more time to focus on it and to really dive deep into areas that we could fix and make better. And I think those changes have happened over the course of the last number of years. And I'm not saying that the staff or anyone was the reason why the team felt the way that it felt, but I think a combination of losing consecutive championships was super eye-opening, and it was a learning experience more than anything else.
Yeah. So I guess we can go full circle now because you just mentioned the folding of the CWHL, and that kind of led to this moment of unity in women's hockey. And now here we are. You're the first captain of the Toronto Sceptres. Kind of cool. Nova Scotia first captain of the Toronto team. How did you feel when they told you, and what's it been like to kind of not carry that burden for the year, but it's a lot of responsibility?
Well, yeah, it's a burden. You're in Toronto.
if you're a captain on a sports team.
No, it was a really special moment to be named the captain. I think it's a huge honor with there only being 6 teams in the league and knowing how many amazing leaders and players and people are involved. I think it was really special for me to be the one that gets to represent this team as a captain. But one thing I will say about our group is that I'm the one that gets to wear the C on my jersey and the one that everyone knows as the captain of the team. But it's definitely not just me that has the responsibility of leading the team. So I'm lucky that I get to work with so many great teammates who are all leaders in their own way. And I think that makes my job as captain and my responsibility as captain much easier than it could be.
New jerseys, new logo, new barn.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, year 1 to year 2, like what feels different?
I feel that year 1, a lot of the focus was on, wow, there's a league now.
Right.
And it's amazing that everything was put together and everything came to life the way that it did. I think that year 2, the focus is going to be on the hockey.
Nice.
Which is great.
I dig. If the Toronto Sceptres claim the Walter Cup, can we get confirmation that there will be another cage dance?
It's had too much airtime for the podcast. You have to address it.
Okay, yeah, we need to talk about this cage dance because I think people might.
In general,
people might have the wrong impression of what this cage dance entailed. So,
for the record,
careful because I have seen a video, so I will be able to.
Oh, perfect! Yeah, you can most definitely confirm. But so I let Jill Saunier plan the bachelorette party.
Let her.
Yeah, gave her permission to. So we were at this bar, and like I think the bar specifically has bachelor and bachelorette packages. So she bought the bachelorette package, and included in the package is like you get your own private booth, you get bottle service, and then at a certain time in the night, all the brides get called up to go in the cages. So there's like 5 cages. You have to like
package.
Yeah, it's part of the package. So you can picture like a DJ booth and then a dance floor, and then upstairs above the DJ booth are these cages. So I was like, I'm not going in the cages. Like, we can go do this. It's going to be great. But like when the brides get called up, like I will not be going into the cage. And everyone's like, yeah, okay. Like, no worries. Like, you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. And then obviously like it's whatever, 10:30 and everyone gets called up to the cages and they're all like, go on, like you have to go. And they're like dragging me up. So I'm like, okay, I'll go, but only if a couple of you can come up with me. I'm not going up there by myself. So I went up there. Alex Rigsby came with me. Amaranth Smashmeyer was up there too. And like they were playing all this music, and like I was looking over and the brides were, you know, trying to be all sexy and dancing, and I'm just like standing in there looking down at all my friends going like, they're like cheering like I just like scored a goal, and like I'm like, we are so out of place here. Yeah. And then it was funny.
I love it.
What was the walk home that night like? Because I've heard going
Right.
got a little crazy.
Yeah.
The walk home, it was rainy, it was dark, yeah. A little bit nauseating, I would say.
Oh my gosh, 2 episodes in a row. We talked about me puking on episode 1, and now it's gonna be you puking on episode.
Yeah. The Pwhl actually has a beautiful photo of the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We won't ask for it, but we're happy that it exists.
Yeah.
We will ask for it. Also, I need background on your nickname. Why they call you the Shark?
Okay. Yeah. So my first centralization, so 2017, we did these personality assessments. And
It's the Taze?
Yeah. Yeah, something along those lines. And you get classified into like a group. So there were like 5 different animals that you could get classified into.
Animals.
Yeah, so I don't know what they were like. A shark, something, panda, anyway, fox, something like that. Anyways, so the lady was like describing what each animal meant. And she was like describing the shark, and it did not sound good to be a shark. It was like you prefer to work by yourself. You don't like collaborating. You don't often seek help if you need it. And then we all like looked at our sheets, and she's like, so is anyone a shark? And I was like, raised my hand. I was the only one on the team that was a shark. I was mortified. But so I don't think people like call me the shark because of those reasons. I think now it's more of like, oh yeah, she's a shark. Like she, like when people think of a shark, I don't think they think of the reasons that were necessarily described in the personality assessment. But anyway, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I was told you're the softest and sweetest shark anyone's ever met. And I think that comes from like you hold this intimidation factor. Like your walk-ins, you've got like model face, like game face. I'll even go to resting bitch face.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's not an insult. It's real.
No, is that just the face?
Yeah, it's like I'm not trying to make it. No, it's just how my face looks.
This is what I. Okay, this has been so fun. I feel like you've got a lot more to do, and I honestly feel like we've talked way longer than we were supposed to because this was a lot of fun. So we appreciate you, and good luck this season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, that was Blayre. And Blayre is so cool. She does have the most stoic face in hockey, but she's a softie with the stoic face.
Are like catwalk walk-ins, like the facial. I'm not talking about the walk itself, like the facial expression. It's just like game day, don't mess with her. Everyone get out of the way.
Yeah.
She's the softest shark, as I was told by Pwhl.
And
softest shark she ever met.
And one of Toronto's most influential people.
Yeah.
Now, that was announced yesterday.
Spooner and Nursey.
Yeah. I think Nursey's number one.
Really? Good for her.
I don't want to be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure Nursey was number one on Toronto's most influential list. It kept getting announced yesterday. It's like, oh, these 3 players have been announced, and Nursey's been included. And then I looked at it, I was like, no, Nursey won. She's number one. What are we talking about here, guys?
She
literally is Toronto's most influential person. So congratulations to her on that. Blayre, thank you so much for that yesterday. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. We're not going to do a Send It segment twice a week right now, unless you guys want that. Let us know how you feel about it. We thought it just works better if it's at the beginning of the week, but if you think we should do it twice a week, we'll add it in twice a week because we love you. We love you. And we want to get you on.
Follow us everywhere. Listen to us. Watch us everywhere podcasts are available.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Hit us with a subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram.
TikTok.
We've been buzzing
X
on those platforms recently because we have all day to do it. And we have all the time in the world to talk to you guys. We can't wait to talk to you next week. Have a good Friday.